two-sentence horror. "Please don't shoot me. I did nothing wrong," I pleaded desperately with tears in my eyes. "Oh yes, you did," and the time traveler pulled the trigger. I decided my third wish would be to understand and speak every language. How long have the trees been trying to warn us? The wizard said, "Only a kiss from your true love can break the curse and save your life. But since money doesn't have lips, I'm afraid there is nothing I can do," the wizard continued. "Daddy, what is 2 plus 2? The kid asked. As soon as the man replied 4, the kid knew that the man might look and sound like his daddy, but he was not his real daddy. My husband doesn't believe that every day, at 3:07 p.m., my cat, Milo, sits in the same spot, staring at the wall for 23 minutes without blinking. Yesterday, I recorded it, but the video showed me sitting there instead, staring at the wall, meowing, while my husband whispered, "Sarah, honey, you're not a cat. I think it's time to up your meds." "Stop throwing rocks at it," said the angel with a frown on his face. "The last time you managed to hit it with one of your rocks, you killed all the dinosaurs," he added. My daughter hugged me tightly and sobbed, "I don't want you to go." I smiled, kissed her forehead, and walked toward the courtroom, where they were about to announce my execution for her murder. I relished the sound of the satisfying crunch as I bit into the lollipop, feeling the separate pieces fill my mouth. But when I pulled it out of my mouth, I was surprised to see the candy completely intact, and even more surprised when the pain began to set in. I always used to laugh when my scared crybaby of a brother would cry and scream for our mother. But now, watching him screaming for her in the mud, his lower body torn apart by artillery, all I could do was look away and cover my ears. "Have whatever you like," my mother smiled, as I ordered 4 scoops of ice cream from the kindly vendor on the beach, who didn't even charge us. Then we sat and watched as the comet trailed across the sky, disappearing into the ocean before the sky turned black and the sea receded like it had taken the deepest of breaths. I couldn't believe it when the doctor said my wife was pregnant with twins. I really thought she was lying before I pushed her down those stairs, but I suppose it probably wouldn't have stopped me anyway. "Sir, we've found a planet with a population of 100.8 billion. Its population seems to grow by 107 per minute, and it seems the population is in intense pain." I didn't believe that she was blind and asked her to remove her black goggles to prove herself. It was fun seeing another liar turned to stone. He'd sold all he had and was just able to afford the artificial heart that saved his daughter's life. What he failed to anticipate, however, was that he'd be unable to afford the power bill this month, and that the battery would need to be charged daily. "I'm so scared of rabies, you never know you have it until it's too late. Honestly, though, it's only second to my fear of water."
I drowned my daughter in the bath last night because I couldn't handle being awake all night again listening to her crying. So you could understand my surprise when I called the police to turn myself in, and they said that it was the 10th time this happened and they never found any sign of a child. Every night a man came to my window and shined a flashlight in my face until I opened my eyes, and then he'd run away. My dad always said he was looking for misbehaving children, but I found out one night after Dad beat me half to death that he was just my neighbor making sure that I was still alive. The voice in my head told me to skin my neighbor's cat, eat its raw flesh, and gouge my own eyes out to see the truth. I refused at first, but as I vomited up bloody clumps of fur, I realized I must have already listened. "Go kill yourself now," I commented on a subreddit post, grinning as others piled on, backing me up. Still buzzing high from the hit comment, I called my brother for dinner, then froze when I found him hanging, his laptop open to familiar words. "It's weird," my daughter said her international pen pal can't look up the infamous Square massacre on her country's internet. She said, "Dad, every time Kelsey Googles Times Square 2029, nothing comes up. We finally created a chip to make any child the perfect child. Just put the pill in their drink at mealtime, and your child will follow any direction they are told." After the chip was put in drugstores for a cheap price, CPS reports went down to seemingly none.
"I guess I am not a princess," the new mother mused to herself as she slipped in and out of sleep. After all, the lump under her in the bed was much bigger than a pea, but she was exhausted enough to sleep through it. "It's so brave of you to be willing to testify against someone so rich and powerful," Detective Bateman said, giving the boy's shoulder a reassuring squeeze. "But this town depends on his factory for jobs," he added sadly, as his grip tightened. She rode me in the dark, her sweat-slicked skin glowing under the neon light. Devil inked in jagged letters across her ribs, her thighs, her throat. As I came, she split open from the middle like a rotten fruit, and something inside, something with too many hands, crawled out, still moaning. After my wife's miscarriage, I woke up strapped in a crib, dressed in a baby bonnet and an adult diaper, my mouth sewn shut around a pacifier. She stood over me, shaking a rattle with a wide grin, whispering, "It's okay, baby. Mommy will never let you go." Captain's log, day 236. Our ship has become the first ship to successfully use the wormhole technology, but several crew members are saying they want to make music. Captain's log, day 246. Oh God. Many crew members have opened up their hands and legs and are using the tendons like guitar strings. I fell asleep feeding our daughter, and when I woke up, she was purple and not breathing. I hadn't slept in days, so I must have just passed out. I continued crying to my husband, hoping to convince him that I didn't do it on purpose this time.
I called in a fake bomb threat to get my friends out of school. The real bomb was in the car park where the school made everyone assemble. Truly a miracle. The woman could heal any ailment by simply laying her hands on the afflicted person, and unbelievably refused to accept payment for her services. Unfortunately, she committed suicide by shooting herself in the back of the head, twice, the day after health insurance stocks plummeted. I thought having a bite mark tattoo was a cool and loving gesture to my girlfriend a few months ago, but as I begged to my group that I wasn't infected, they just wouldn't believe me.
This brain tumor has made my life agony for the last 2 months, and now you're telling me it's illegal to remove it? I'm sorry, but the growth in your brain isn't a tumor, it's a fetus. I've always wanted to freeze my sperm in case the worst were to happen. My mother was determined to see my wishes through as she rolled my quadriplegic body into the collection room. Our baby will be so beautiful, my husband whispered, kissing my swollen belly. He didn't know I had stopped being pregnant weeks ago, but whatever was growing inside me now had already started chewing. The man watched the exhausted, helpless little girl sleeping under the bush for some time and then walked away. "She's not here," he lied to the other members in the search party. I would have done anything for my pregnant wife, and I thought I knew what she meant when she asked if I could physically relieve her. Mistaken. I woke up feeling drowsy, sore, and bloated. I asked my wife what happened, and she replied, "It's your turn now." "Oh wow, a toy puppy," exclaimed my kid as he unwrapped the present and saw what he thought was a toy dog. I should not have copied the cartoons and put a puppy in a box as a gift. I heard that if a woman thinks a man might have followed her to her building, she waits 15 minutes before turning on the lights so he can't figure out which unit she's in. So I wait 20. "Got your nose, Daddy!" my son squealed excitedly, ripping my nose from my face. Smiling at my son, I reattached the prosthetic and wished I hadn't done so much cocaine back in college. For my third wish, I wish my father was cured of his cancer. The genie shook its head solemnly. "I'm sorry, I can't undo another's wish." My wife and I always agreed that she would have only one child, but she just kept on having them, so I killed the rest. "So you're telling me that you murdered 3 children in front of their parents because of an agreement you made with your ex-wife years before?" the judge asks. "Stop being a pussy and man up," shouted the man as he beat his son to death with a baseball bat. Just once be a man and snatch the fucking bat from me," he screamed as he pushed the reset button on his son's corpse. When my previously depressed significant other got unusually happy and started giving away their stuff, I was pretty sure I knew what that meant. What I couldn't figure was why they were giving away my stuff along with theirs. I pull at the finger until the skin stretches thin and then snaps with a satisfyingly juicy splotch sound. No one knows the depraved things I get to enjoy before I give them back the ashes. The smell of bleach makes my nose burn as I clean the crime scene, needing to erase any trace that my wife was here. If I failed to cover up her kills, I would be next. Her profile said she loved cooking, so he didn't question the bone saw resting on her kitchen counter. That is, until she said, "You're going to make such a lovely stew."